So, I watched my friend Daniel spend 3 years, 3 entire years, reading every single finance book he could get his hands on. And you know what happened? He ended up $40,000 in debt. Yeah, $40,000. Same books you've probably read, by the way. Same advice everyone gives you. Budgets, emergency funds, investing, the whole thing. He knew it all. So, why was he still broke? Because here's the thing, and this is important. Knowing what to do and actually doing it, those are two completely different problems. Like, not even in the same universe. And most people, they're trying to solve the wrong one. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, picture this. It's Sunday night. You're lying in bed, scrolling through your phone like we all do. And you see a notification pop up. Your credit card payment of $340 is due in 3 days. Ugh. That familiar knot forms in your stomach. You know the one I'm talking about? So you open your banking app. $890 in checking. Okay, not terrible. But wait, rent's due Friday. You've got probably $220 in groceries to buy this week. Gas for the car. And oh yeah, that dinner you already said yes to with your coworkers on Thursday. You start doing the math in your head, and it doesn't work. Again. And here's the thing that really gets you. You know what you're supposed to do. Like, you've watched the videos, you've read the articles, you know about that 50-30-20 rule thing. You know about emergency funds. Yeah, 6 months of expenses, we get it. You understand compound interest better than most people at this point. But every month, you're back here. Same stress, same scrambling, same promise to yourself that next month will be different, right? Let me tell you about James. James is 29, works in IT, makes about $65,000 a year. That's decent money. I mean, it's not buy a yacht money, but it's definitely not poor, 2 years ago, he decided, enough. Enough is enough. He downloaded every budgeting app, every single one. He made this beautiful spreadsheet with color coding and formulas. He calculated exactly, like down to the dollar, how much he needed to save each month to have a 6-month emergency fund in 1 year. The plan was perfect. The math? Solid. Like, really solid. Guess how long he lasted? 3 weeks. Week 4, his college roommate comes to town. You know how it goes. Drinks turned into dinner, turned into, let's hit one more bar. $120 on his credit card. Just this once, he told himself. We've all said it, right? Week 6, car needs new tires. Because of course it does. Hadn't budgeted for that. Another $400. Gone. Week 8, he's exhausted, like absolutely fried from this brutal project at work. So he orders delivery. 4 times that week. Buys a new game to decompress. He deserves it, right? Subscribes to another streaming service because everyone at work is talking about that new show and he feels left out. And just like that, the plan? Gone. The budget? Dead. And James is back to feeling like a complete failure who just can't get his act together. Does this sound familiar to you? Be honest. Because here's what nobody tells you, and I mean nobody. James doesn't have a financial planning problem. He has a financial therapy problem. And chances are, so do you. Wait, what does that even mean, right? Stay with me. Let me explain what's actually happening in your brain when you break your budget. So your brain, stay with me, this isn't going to get too sciencey, I promise. Your brain has 2 systems making financial decisions. Scientists call them System 1 and System 2, which is super boring, so forget that. Think of them like this: your emotional brain and your logical brain. Your logical brain? That's the one that makes the budget. It calculates, it plans, it gets all excited about compound interest and understands that saving $500 a month means, you do the math, $6,000 by the end of the year. It knows what you should do. Makes total sense, right? But your emotional brain? That's the one actually controlling your hand when you pull out your credit card. And here's the problem. Your emotional brain is faster, it's stronger, and it's running on programming that's literally thousands of years old. Like caveman level old. So when you had a stressful day at work and you're standing in your apartment at 9 p.m. staring at your empty fridge, your emotional brain isn't thinking about your savings goals. It's not pulling up that beautiful spreadsheet. It's thinking, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I deserve something easy and good. Order the food, right? Or when you're scrolling Instagram, probably when you should be sleeping, and you see your friend posting about his vacation to Thailand. Your emotional brain isn't calculating opportunity cost. It's not thinking about your emergency fund. It's feeling inadequate. It's feeling left behind. It's thinking, I work hard too. Why don't I have that? You know what? Maybe I should book something. Or, and this is a big one, when you're at the mall with friends and they're all buying new clothes and they're asking you to try stuff on. Your emotional brain isn't worried about your budget. It's feeling social pressure. It's feeling cheap. It's feeling excluded. Just this one thing. I'll make it up next month. We've all been there. Here's where it gets really important. Like, really pay attention to this part. Every single one of those moments, your emotional brain is doing its job perfectly. It's not broken. It's not sabotaging you. It's protecting you from what it thinks are threats: hunger, social isolation, feeling inadequate, being excluded. So the problem, and this is the big shift, the problem isn't that you're weak, or undisciplined, or bad with money. The problem is you're trying to solve emotional problems with financial tools. That's like trying to fix a broken bone with a Band-Aid. Wrong tool entirely. Let me show you what I mean. Remember James? After another failed budget attempt, I think it was his 5th or 6th one, he finally talked to someone who actually understood this stuff, and they asked him one simple question. Just one. When did you start feeling anxious about money? That's it. James had to think about it, like really think. And then he remembered. He grew up watching his dad stress about bills. Every dinner conversation, and I mean every single one, eventually turned into his parents arguing about money. His mom would buy things to feel better. His dad would explode. Then, the silent treatment. For days. You know that cold silence? Yeah, that. So, in James's brain, what did money mean? Money meant conflict. Money meant tension. Money meant love disappearing. So, what did James's brain learn? His emotional brain, that fast, protective one. Money is dangerous. Money causes pain. Better to not think about it too much. Better to just avoid it. Spend it when you have it, because holding on to it, that just means waiting for the fight to start. His adult brain, his logical brain, knew this wasn't rational. Of course he knew that. But his emotional brain? It was still that scared 8-year-old kid trying to avoid the pain. That's why budgets didn't work. Every time he opened his spreadsheet, his nervous system was literally screaming, "Danger! This leads to bad things. Close it. Do something else. Now." And so, he did. This right here is financial therapy territory. This isn't about apps. This isn't about spreadsheets or the latest budgeting method. This is about understanding why your hand reaches for your wallet when your brain is really reaching for something else entirely. Does that make sense? Okay, so here's the revelation, the thing that changes everything once you see it. Ready? You don't have a spending problem. You have an emotional regulation problem that looks like a spending problem. Stay with me on this. Think about it for a second. You're not actually buying the takeout. You're buying relief from decision fatigue. You're not actually buying the clothes. You're buying belonging, social acceptance, the feeling of fitting in. You're not actually buying that new gadget. You're buying the feeling of treating yourself after a brutal week. You're buying, "I deserve this." You're not actually subscribing to another streaming service. You're buying an escape from stress, a distraction. Money is just the tool. The real transaction is emotional. And until you understand what you're actually trying to buy, what feeling you're chasing, no budget in the world will work, because you'll keep breaking it. Not because you're bad at math, not because you're lazy or undisciplined, but because you're trying to use spending to solve feelings. And that doesn't work. Let me tell you about Marcus real quick. Marcus had been trying to fix his spending for 5 years. 5 years. Different budgets, different apps, different methods. Everything lasted a few weeks, maybe a month. Then, back to zero. 5 years of feeling like a complete failure. Then one night, he's lying in bed with his girlfriend, and she asks him something. Just casually, you know? "Why do you always buy stuff when you're stressed?" He didn't have an answer. Like, he genuinely didn't know. But the question, it stuck with him. About a week later, terrible day at work. His boss criticized him in front of the entire team. He felt small, embarrassed, like he didn't know what he was doing. He gets home, opens Amazon, starts browsing. You know the drill. He adds these $90 headphones to his cart. Nice ones, the kind with noise canceling and all that. His finger is literally hovering over buy now. And then he stops and he asks himself that question. What am I actually trying to buy right now? And the answer just came to him. I'm trying to feel like I matter, like I'm worth something. He closed the app, just like that, closed it. That moment, that one simple question saved him $90. But more importantly, way more importantly, it showed him the pattern. The problem wasn't his budget, never was. The problem was he'd learned, somewhere along the way, to use shopping as emotional first aid. And once he saw it, like really saw it, everything changed. Because you can't unsee that. Okay, so how do you actually fix this? Like, what do you do with this information? How do you solve emotional problems instead of just slapping band-aids on financial symptoms? Here's the framework. 5 steps. And these actually work, I promise. Step 1. Track your emotional spending. Not just your spending, your emotional spending. This is different from regular budget tracking. Completely different. For 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, you can do anything for 2 weeks. Every single time you spend money on something non-essential, write down 3 things. 1. What you bought. 2. How you were feeling right before you bought it. 3. What you were hoping the purchase would do for you. That's it. 3 things. Let me show you what this looked like for Alex. He's 31, works as a graphic designer. Monday, 6 p.m. Ordered $28 worth of sushi delivery. Feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, don't want to think, hoping for someone to take care of me, to not have to make any more decisions today. Thursday, lunch break. Bought a $45 shirt online while at work. Feeling bored, restless. This project is frustrating me. Hoping for distraction, something to look forward to. Feeling like I have control over something. Saturday night, 11 p.m. Spent $15 on mobile game currency. Feeling lonely, restless, can't sleep. Hoping for entertainment. To feel like I'm making progress at something. To stop thinking. After 2 weeks, Alex sat down and looked at his list, and the pattern was just screaming at him. He wasn't buying things, he was buying feelings. Exhausted? Buy convenience and care. Bored? Buy stimulation and control. Lonely? Buy connection. Even if it's fake game progress, at least it's something. The moment you see your pattern, everything shifts, because now you can address the real problem. Alex realized he didn't need a better budget. He needed better stress management. He needed actual social connection, not shopping dopamine hits. He needed to really rest, not just distract himself with purchases. See the difference? Step 2. Create your instead of list. Okay, so once you know your triggers, and trust me, you'll know them after 2 weeks, you need replacement behaviors. Not willpower. That runs out. Alternatives. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Tom, he's 27. He realized he spent money when he felt stressed and powerless, usually late at night when he couldn't sleep, usually online shopping because what else are you going to do at midnight, right? So he made his instead of list. When I feel stressed and I reach for my phone to shop, instead I will do 20 push-ups. I know, it sounds dumb, but it interrupts the pattern and burns off that cortisol. Text Marcus or Jake and just say, "Rough day, you around?" Don't even explain, just reach out. Take a 10-minute walk, even if it's just around the block, even if it's cold, just move. Watch 1 episode of something. Set a timer though, so it doesn't turn into a 3 a.m. binge that makes everything worse. Journal for 5 minutes. Just dump everything on paper. Doesn't have to make sense. The first time Tom felt that urge to shop and did push-ups instead, he felt absolutely ridiculous. Like, what am I doing? But it worked. The emotional intensity dropped. The urge passed. 3 weeks later, it was automatic. Stress hits, push-ups or walk, not shopping. He didn't spend $200 that month on random Amazon stuff he barely remembered ordering. Not because he suddenly had more willpower, but because he had a better tool for the actual problem. And here's the key. Your alternative has to address the same emotional need. If you're buying comfort, your alternative needs to provide actual comfort. If you're buying excitement, you need real stimulation. If you're buying connection, you need genuine human contact. You can't just replace shopping with nothing. That's just white-knuckling it. That doesn't last. You have to replace it with something that actually works. Make sense? Step 3. Have the money conversation with yourself. Okay, this one's hard, not gonna lie, but it's the one that creates lasting change, like real change. You need to understand your specific money story. Where did your relationship with money get programmed? When did it start? So ask yourself these questions. Actually ask them. Maybe write them down. What did money mean in my family growing up? How did my parents handle stress about money? What did I learn money could do for me? What am I afraid will happen if I have less money? What am I afraid will happen if I save and don't spend? That last one's sneaky, right? But it's important. When David, he's 33, finally sat with these questions, like really sat with them, he realized something painful. His dad had always worked crazy hours, was never home, and when David wanted to do something with him, play catch, come to his soccer game, just hang out, his dad would always say the same thing. I'm working to give you a good life, so you can have nice things. Nice things. That's love. So what did David's brain learn? Love equals money equals things. If someone loves you, they buy you things. If you want to feel loved, buy things. That's why he could never save. Saving felt like deprivation. It felt like not being loved. It felt unsafe. Once he saw that, once he really understood it, he could start rewriting it. He could tell himself a new story. Saving isn't deprivation. Saving is self-love. It's future me taking care of present me. Look, the origin story doesn't excuse the behavior. It doesn't make it okay. But understanding it, that means you can finally change it. And here's the thing. You might need to actually talk to someone about this, like a real person, a therapist who understands financial psychology, a counselor, even a really trusted friend who's good at listening without judging. This isn't weakness. I need you to hear that. This is doing the actual work that makes budgets possible. Step 4. Build friction for emotional spending. All right, so while you're working on all that emotional stuff, which takes time, by the way, be patient with yourself. Make impulsive spending physically harder. Practical tactics that actually work. Delete your saved payment info from Amazon, from Target, from wherever you shop. All of it. Now every purchase requires you to get up, find your wallet, manually type in the card number. That's 60 seconds, usually enough for the emotional wave to pass. Remove shopping apps from your phone entirely. You can still shop, you're an adult, but you have to open a browser and navigate there. Those extra steps, they create decision points, little speed bumps for your brain. And here's a big one. Use cash for discretionary spending. I know. Who uses cash anymore, right? But try this. Take out $200 on Monday. That's your money for the whole week. Everything non-essential. Coffee, lunch out, entertainment, whatever. When it's gone, it's gone. Chris, he's 26, tried this cash thing. First week was rough, like really rough. By Wednesday, he had $30 left, and it was only Wednesday. He had to actually think about every choice. Weekend came. Friends wanted to grab dinner. He pulls out his 3 remaining $10 bills, looks at them, really looks at them. If I spend this, I have 0 for the rest of the weekend. He went to dinner, had water and split an appetizer instead of his usual burger and 3 beers. Spent $12. Came home with $18 still in his wallet. Did he feel restricted? Yeah, a little. But he also felt something he hadn't felt in months. In control. The cash made it real. His emotional brain finally understood. There are limits. These are actual resources. And weirdly, that was calming, not stressful. Step 5. Celebrate emotional wins, not just financial ones. Okay, last one. And this might be the most important shift. Stop measuring success by, I saved $500 this month. Start measuring success by, I felt the urge to stress shop 3 times this week, and I chose my alternative behavior instead. See the difference? When Kevin, he's 34, felt overwhelmed at work, wanted to buy something to feel better, but instead called his brother and just talked for 20 minutes, that's a win. Even if he didn't save any money that day, he broke the pattern. That's what matters. When Roberto, 29, had a huge fight with his girlfriend, felt that familiar pull to go treat himself at the mall, but instead went for a run, that's a win. He solved the emotional problem with an emotional solution, not a spending solution. Track these wins. Write them down. Celebrate them, because these are the behaviors that lead to the financial results you want. And here's what's incredible. When you start solving your emotional problems with emotional solutions, the money thing often just handles itself. Not because you're following some restrictive budget, but because you're not using spending as a coping mechanism anymore. The root cause is addressed. So, remember James? From way back at the beginning? The guy who knew everything about personal finance but couldn't make any of it work. 6 months after he stopped trying to fix his budget and started addressing his emotional relationship with money, everything changed. He's not rich now. Let's be clear, still makes the same $65,000, still has those student loans, still deals with unexpected expenses and car trouble and all that normal life stuff. But last month, his credit card bill came. $890. He opened it, and you know what? That panic didn't come. He just looked at it. Then he logged into his savings account. $4,200 sitting there. Emergency fund he'd built without really thinking about it because he wasn't stress spending it away anymore. He paid the credit card in full. First time in 3 years. And you know what he felt? Nothing. Just calm. Normal. Okay, done. What's for dinner? This is just what you do. 2 weeks ago, he had a rough day at work. Boss was in a terrible mood. Project was a complete mess. James felt that old familiar stress building in his chest. 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, he would have opened Amazon that night and bought something, anything, just to feel better. Instead, he texted his friend Ryan. Brutal day. Want to shoot hoops after work? They played for an hour. He went home tired, sweaty, and the stress was gone. Spent $0. Got exactly what he needed. This is what changes when you solve the emotional problem instead of just managing the financial symptom. You're not constantly fighting yourself. You're not using willpower like it's a muscle that gets exhausted by 3 p.m. You're just different at a foundational level. And the money stuff? It becomes easy, not because you're following some complicated system, but because you're not trying to use money to fix feelings anymore. The whole game changes. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Right now, before this moment passes and you scroll to the next video, think about the last thing you bought that you didn't actually need. Something in the last week. Could be $5, could be $50, doesn't matter. Got it? Okay, now, close your eyes if you need to. Go back to that moment, right before you bought it. Not what you were thinking. What were you feeling? Stressed? Bored? Lonely? Frustrated? Inadequate? Tired? Restless? Anxious? That feeling right there? That's your pattern. That's the thing you're actually trying to solve when you spend. So write it down. In your phone notes, on a piece of paper, I don't care where. Just name it. I spend when I feel blank. Fill in that blank. That awareness, that simple act of seeing it and naming it, is the first step to changing it. You're not fixing your budget today. That's not the goal. You're understanding yourself. And that understanding? That's worth more than any spreadsheet will ever be. Look, I get it. Money is hard. It's stressful. It's wrapped up in every single insecurity and fear and hope you have about your life and your future. And the people selling you budgeting apps and investment courses, they make it sound so simple, like it's just about the math, just about discipline, just about knowing what to do. But you already know what to do. You've always known. That was never the problem. The problem is feeling safe enough to actually do it. The problem is understanding what you're really trying to buy when you're not buying the thing. The problem is learning to solve emotional problems with emotional solutions. That's harder work than making a budget. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's the work that actually changes your life. You're not broken. I need you to hear that. You're not bad with money. You're human. You're doing your best, and you've been trying to solve the wrong problem this whole time. Now you know the right one. You've got this. I believe in you.